Hello guys, welcome to KT classes. My name is Varinder Pal Singh and today we are here to talk about structure geology. Okay. Now, structure geology and if you talk about crystallography and also these are the most feared subjects in geology. Okay. What is the reason behind fearing them? Because we are not able to understand the concepts of structural geology and crystallography. Okay. So here at KP classes, we will be teaching them from the very basics. So if you guys are interested in learning structural geology from the basics, then KP classes is your right choice. Okay. Now let me give you a brief introduction about structural geology. That if you go and see the syllabus of structural geology, this is the syllabus of structural geology in GATE examination. Okay. Now in GATE examination, the forces and mechanisms of the rock deformation, primary and secondary structures, geometry and genesis of planar and linear structures, bedding, cleavage, systosity, lineation, fold, faults, joints and unconformities, stereographic projections, shear zones, thrust and superposed foldings, basement cover relationships, interpretation of geological maps. So basically, if you compare this syllabus with the NET syllabus, you will see that they have written it in a very concise manner, but this is more than that. Okay, so if you see, compare this one. This is the syllabus of the CSIR NET. Okay, so you may think that this syllabus in CSIR NET, the syllabus of the structural geology is more in comparison, but it is not like that. They are using smaller terms, so they are including everything. So we have to study everything here. Okay, so if you see, so one of the best way to go forward is by analyzing the previous year's examinations. Okay, so if you see that I have taken some questions of 2022 exam. Okay, so this is the one question which has been asked: which one of the following is the typical product of ductile deformation? Okay, so and this is of 1 mark. This is of 1 mark question. Then we are having another question. This is also of 1 mark question, structural geology, and this is of 2 marks question. So total in part A, which is common for geology and geophysics students, we are having 4 marks questions. We are having 4 marks. Okay. Then we are having this numerical question. This is again of 2 marks. Then we are having this question again 2 marks. So in total, you guys have seen that from structural geology alone, we are having 8 marks questions appearing in the GATE examination. So this trend follows every year. Every year you are going to find 4 to 5 questions in the GATE examination. And if you talk about GSI pre-examination, there are going to be 10 plus questions from the structural geology, and in your NET also there is around 10 questions from structural geology, and structural geology in NET examination is getting asked in the mostly in the part C. Okay, it is not mostly in the part B. So most of the questions are in part C. So if they are asking question in the part B, then those questions are going to be very straightforward and the simple ones. So here if you analyze, mostly the questions which are getting asked, they are from your fold classifications. If you see, depending upon the exam, the pattern of the questions are going to get changed. If you are preparing for GSI pre-examination or your NET examination, so mostly questions are going to come from fold classification, your joints. Okay, so direct straightforward questions comes. But if you are preparing for GATE examination, then here you have to apply your mind, because They are going to give you numericals also. Okay, so the geology students, most of them are very weak in mathematics. Okay, so we start fearing structural geological mathematical questions. We cannot imagine. So in structural geology, the major issue is that we read everything in the book, and the figures which they are drawing, they are in two dimensional. Okay, what we are doing, we are trying to draw three-dimensional images into the two-dimensional space. Okay, so this became a challenge for everyone to understand. Okay, so once first thing which you guys should develop, that how to draw 3D diagrams into 2D diagrams, then half of your work is done. Okay, so here at KP classes, the approach we are going to take is like this. Okay, so in structural geology, okay, so basically this structural geology is divided into two parts. I'm just going to give you overview. Structural geology. Here we have to talk about kinematic part and dynamic part. So structural geology can be divided into two branches, okay, kinematic and dynamic parts. So here in dynamic part, we will be talking about the forces responsible for the deformation. Here we will be talking about the forces responsible for deformation. And in kinematic parts, we will be talking about the geometry of the structures. Geometry of structures. We will be talking about geometry of the structures. Okay. Also, we will be talking about the types of the movements, the translations, the rotations, the strains which are getting developed. Okay. Those things we will be discussing here in the kinematic parts. Now, let's talk about the class flow, that how we will start. The first thing which we are going to talk about in structural geology is some basic concepts of dynamics. Basic concepts of dynamics. This is first we are going to talk about. In this, we will study about stress, strain, and Mohr circle. We are going to study about stress, strain, and Mohr circle. Then we are going to talk about figures like folds, faults, joints, their classification, generation, okay, then cleavages, lineations, fractures, all these topics we will cover. Then here we will also talk about unconformity. Then after this we will move towards your stress ellipsoid, strain ellipsoid. This will be the third part of our classes, where we will talk about stress ellipsoids, strain ellipsoids. Okay. So people have difficulty in making these stress ellipsoids and strain ellipsoids. Then here we will be talking about how to plot sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3 in the Mohr circle. How to plot sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 in more circle. After this, we will be covering in this chapter also your types of deformations. So this will be the third part of our classes. So in the fourth part of our classes, here mostly our structural geology we will be done with the structural geology. Okay, most part of the structural geology. Then what we have to do, we have to study structural geology's relation with the tectonics, metamorphism, sedimentations. Then fourth part we will be covering the relationship of structural geology with tectonism, metamorphism, and sedimentation. Because these days questions in your part C of NET and your GATE examinations, they are not coming direct. Okay, so you have to apply your mind and you have to relate structural geology with the tectonism, metamorphism, and sedimentation. So this is the fourth part of our chapters which we are going to cover. Then after studying this, we will be talking about your stereo nets, how to draw stereo nets, their interpretations. So this will be your fifth part of the syllabus which we teach. Stereo nets. In stereo nets, we will teach you how to draw them and their interpretation also. This will be covered. And after studying stereo nets, we will be studying some maps. And last, we will be solving numericals. Though I will be introducing numericals along with the subjects also, but at the last we will be discussing the previous year numericals which has been asked. Okay, so this is the plan which we take to teach structural geology. Okay, now I will tell you few of the fundamentals. I will give you an introduction of one or two topics, okay, which are difficult to understand. Okay, so let's talk about elements of geology, structural geology first. Elements of structural geology. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction here that how do we teach elements of structural geology. So basically in elements of structural geology, we are going to talk about the concepts of structural geology. Okay, like here we have to talk about the plane, line, point. Okay, because if you see your books, they are directly talking about your strike, dip, okay, pitch, plunge, those things they are talking about. But how do you guys see them in the diagrams? Many of the students are not able to get what they are writing in the definitions. Okay, so let's start with the point. I think everyone knows about the point and everyone knows about line. Okay, line is gets formed when we join two points. If we are having 2 points, if I am joining them, a line is getting formed. Okay, now the main thing which we need to understand is plane. Which we need to understand is plane. Plane is a two-dimensional structure. Plane is a two-dimensional structure. If you see this board can be said as a planar structure because it is having a x and y coordinates. Okay, if we see, if we take this one as an example, we can say this is a planar structure. if we see, this is a planar structure. Okay, and in this planar structure, we can have infinite number of lines. So the lines which we talked about previously, we can have infinite number of lines in this planar structure. Like this, I can make any number of lines here. Okay. So here in a plane, we can have infinite number of lines. So see, if I am here holding a book, okay, with me, so this surface is a planar surface because it is having a x coordinate as well as a y coordinate. Okay, so now in this one I can have any number of lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, infinite number of lines I can draw in this one. So this is my planar structure. So planes have infinite number of lines. Now the lines are getting formed by joining 2 points. So a plane is going to have infinite number of points as well as infinite number of lines. Okay, so lines can be drawn horizontally, those lines can be drawn vertically also. Okay, so up to here I think everyone has understood. Now let's see, when two planes intersect, what happens. This is what we have to understand. When two planes intersect, this is what we need to understand. If we are having two planes and they are intersecting with each other, what kind of a structure we are going to see. Okay, now here if you see, let me take a plane. Let's say I have taken a plane like this. This is my one plane. Okay, now I am having another plane. I am having another plane like this. So these are the two planes. But now at this point, if you see, these are two different planes. Okay, plane A and plane B. Okay, now we have to see when they intersect, what kind of a structure you will see. Means what kind of impression it is going to leave on the another one. Okay, now let's see. Okay, if this is going like this, now it is a two-dimensional structure. Okay, this is going to happen in the 3D. I will show you by this book. Okay. Then I will draw it also. First try to understand. Now if you see, I am having one plane like this. This is my one plane surface and another plane surface. Let's say this is the plane surface. Okay. Now when I am passing it like this, so this is how they are intersecting. It can intersect like this also, any way it can intersect. Now when it is going to intersect, it will pass through it. It is going to pass through it. So let's say it is passing inclined. Okay, like this. So on this surface, what kind of a structure is going to be visible? So you are going to find a linear structure. We will see a linear structure. So when two planes intersect, they form a line. This is what I am trying to tell you. So in diagrams, how do we draw it? So this is my plane which was not intersecting first. Now this plane is like this. This plane which I am drawing, this is like this. Okay. This plane is like this. Okay. Now I have to draw it two-dimensionally. So I am drawing. So let's say this is like this. Now a plane is passing from this side. So its one end will be like this. So if I am keeping it like this, you will be able to see some portion this side and some portion this side. Okay. So when we draw it, so we draw it like this. So we will draw it like this. So this portion is going back side of the plane, and at the center we will say it is coming out. So this is how we are representing 3D structures into 2D structures. Okay. So if you guys have seen that we were having two-dimensional structures, but now they have intersected. Okay. Now they are producing this linear structure. This is the line which I will be seeing on this plane. Okay. So this is my linear structure. So if I am having this structure like this, and one plane is passing like this, so I am drawing it like this, keeping it slightly inclined. Okay, so it will some portion of the pen is visible in this direction and some portion will be visible in that direction. So this is the visualization part which you guys to understand that how we are drawing the things, because if you are able to understand this drawing part, then the things will become easier for you to understand. Okay, so from here we have concluded that when two planes intersect, they form a line. Okay, now this line, is it going to be straight always? Is it going to be straight always? No, it is not going to be straight always. So here, if you see, our straight planes were intersecting. So here I have drawn it like this, but I have taught that it is a straight plane. So when two straight planes intersect, we get straight line. When two straight planes intersect, we get straight line. Let's say if one of them was curved like this, then the line which we are going to get will also be curved. Okay, so this is curved. This is curved. This is like this. Okay, curved. Now, when it is going to pass, it is also going to leave an impression that is curved. Okay, so we will be getting curved lines when we are having, if one of the plane is curved. If one of the plane is curved, if one of the plane is curved, we will get curved line. So I hope everyone has understood the concept of planes and what kind of structures we get when two different planes intersect with each other. I hope this is clear to everyone and this is understandable also. Okay. Now these concepts will be used to understand dip. Okay. Strike. Those can be understood with these concepts only, because when we say two planes are intersecting, a line is getting formed, that is known as strike. But how that strike line is getting formed, this is the concept which you guys should learn first. So guys, if you guys enjoyed the lecture, and do like us, do like our page, do support us, and thank you for watching us.